Hello and welcome back. Today we'll be looking at what is IELTS listening. If you don't know what IELTS is, you may want to watch the short video that is appearing on the top here and the link in the description below. A few tips about it, also how I practiced for it, and how to improve your band score. You're watching Matters That Matter. Let's just hop into the video. What does IELTS consist of? There are 4 parts to it. The duration is for 30 minutes for computer-delivered IELTS and 40 minutes if ever it is paper-based. The audio will play only once after showing the first example. This is the time for you to adjust the volume in the headset that is provided to you. Prior to that, they will ask you to scan through some questions, for example, question 1 to 6 first, and then look at question 7 to 10 after you're done with the 6th question. Then you will answer accordingly. They might give you a couple of seconds at the end before moving to the next section, but it's very short. If you are in a computer-delivered exam, you would need to type your answers immediately. If ever you find that some answers you're not very sure about it, you might also write it down. They will provide a sheet of paper, so you can take the pencil that they provide you and write down the question you're not sure about. What to do during the first few seconds that they give you before reading the audio: you can either underline a few words, or you might try to highlight it. If you have computer-based IELTS, you'll be hearing probably the synonyms of those words, or maybe the sentence structure is a bit different. You need to be attentive. Now, coming to transferring answers, in the computer-delivered IELTS, you directly type the answers, while in the paper-based IELTS, you would need to transfer the answer onto your answer sheet at the end, and you have 10 minutes to do that. You have 40 answers to give, which is roughly around 40 to 80 words, and you have plenty of time to write down each word properly. Don't rush through transferring your answers. This is a very important step in IELTS listening. What are you going to listen to? It might be an interview, a lecture, or a guidance about how to go through, let's say, a city or a vacation. So it can be a phone conversation, it can be a monologue, it can be a documentary that is being played. A few tips for listening, and also how I practiced for IELTS. The first thing is you have to be very attentive while you're listening to any conversation, and also all the conversation during the exam. Get into a habit of paying attention to what is being said and what that would mean. How you can do that is, first of all, you would need to get into a habit of listening to English. We'll come to that in the next slide. Apart from that, self-motivation is key. What I usually do is, whenever I sit for the practice, I already have my columns ready so that I can just place my answers in those columns. I write down 1 to 40 and then I write the answers. Next to the columns, so whichever answer I'm sure about, I put a tick. As I practice, I find that I become more confident. This will help you in the exam to also build confidence if ever you feel that you missed out a part, you phased out during listening, and you panic a bit that your scores are not that good. You can look at the number of ticks and stay on track. It's very important for you to understand what the instruction says. If it says that not more than 2 words or 3 words and or a number, write only that. Coming to the maps and fill in the boxes in tables, be very careful. For the maps, it's important for you to know about the cardinal points, the north, and then go around and look for the south, west and east. So north will be on the top of the diagram, write it there. If you're in the computer-based exam, you might take a little paper, write a little box and write north on it in the box, just for you to get an understanding. South, east and west. So the east will be on your right hand and your west will be on the left hand. The number of answers for the map may vary from 4 to 8 answers. So you would really like to be clear in your mind before you start listening to the audio. So wherever you're writing west, write left. Whenever you're writing right, write east. Coming to the fill-in boxes, that is the table, it's usually quite simple, except that the only trap in this is if you don't look at the number for that answer. Let's say you have the question 36 to 40 in the table and you don't spot question number 37. You might put the answer for 36, 38, 40, and you do not realize that you needed an answer for 37. Okay, so be mindful about that. There are a few distractors that would be there. For example, they might give you a name. Let's say he lives in Hatton Lane, and you've written down before them spelling it out Hatn, and then they'll tell you, I'm sorry, it is Hatten. Then you need to correct it. Okay, but get into a habit of writing what you hear first and then correcting it. Be careful with the name, the addresses and the phone numbers, because that might go a bit fast. That is why I've also written speed and shorthand writing. It would be good for you to practice writing fast or shorthand if ever you're used to it, but it really depends on individuals. Sometimes you might feel trapped because at the end of the audio you no longer remember what that shorthand stands for. Don't forget, on the exam day you might have a little extra element of stress. So be very mindful of your shorthand writing. How to improve your band score in listening. I have made a video about IELTS and the band scores. So if you want to improve your band score, you have to have realistic goals. Let's say you have 3 months to prepare for IELTS, whilst another person has 1 week to prepare for IELTS. You both are at a band score of 4, and you want to reach a band score of 7. It's very likely that the person who has 3 months will have a better chance compared to someone who has just a week. Let's say that both had the same amount of time, same amount of dedication and other factors. How much can you improve? These are all from whatever I've been following and listening to recently. So they say that in 10 days you might improve by a band score of 0.5 or up to maximum of 1. If you have about, let's say, a month, you might improve by a band score of 2 or at maximum 2.5. If you have longer and you practice daily, you might improve further. Listen to different accents, get adjusted to it by watching British sitcoms, documentaries, BBC, native speakers. Don't give up because you might find that after your first, second, third, fourth attempt, you might find that you are not to the level that you would have wished for. I feel that IELTS has a very systematic way of approaching it. It's not something that is very difficult to crack. Even if you are not someone who's used to the whole concept of IELTS, you just need some mentoring, guidance, motivation, and knowing the tips and tricks. The amount of practice that you put in is also very crucial. Prior to the exam, try to listen to a little podcast if you can for around 30 minutes on the exam day, so that it can help you to feel at ease with the environment where you will find yourself in for 3 to 4 hours. Listen at different speed, because if you listen at a slower speed, for instance at 0.75, it helps you to combat the boredom that you might have on the exam day. It's also a good idea to listen at a faster speed, for instance at times 1.25, so that it will help you to write faster and keep pace with what is being said. This is mainly if you're practicing through YouTube or some of the websites that provide you some listening practice. Now coming to the worst case scenario. You phased out, you missed out a few answers. What to do? Do not panic. What a boring tip. It is something human to phase out, to lose track, to miss out on a few words, and be apprehensive of your marks. Please remember that there are 40 answers. If you phased out at a few of them, come back, focus again, and don't forget the tick technique. That tick that you've put next to your correct answers will help you feel still motivated if ever this worst case scenario presents. Sorry, worst should have been written as WORST. Yes, I sat for IELTS. That is a wrap for today. I hope you've loved the video and found it useful. If you would like more content, like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you and have a nice day. You were watching Matters That Matter.